now, to a certain extent, it's the pass-through pergola, although there's an option to go the other way around. But as long as that's considered and made obvious.
Is everybody knows that there's no signage or anything, right? Everybody just knows to go up that wood stair as an option. Is it signage, or what's some small gesture that way, or
just everybody knows?
Well, the standard, I mean, the obvious way is up the stairs. There is, you can cut directly through it because there is a break in the hedge.
Yeah.
But there's no path shown there, so there's no obvious way. I mean, if you know, you can, and if you're that sort of early, you have it.
I did notice the dugouts from the one field are much further away. The orientation of the batting area, and so the dugouts are. It seems like one ballpark has the dugouts closer to the restroom, and then the other ballpark, since they have the outfields against each other, the other dugouts are. And I don't know if you plan on moving dugouts or anything like that. There's no dugouts. Or wherever the teams are coming out. I mean, it seemed like one of them had the.
One is much farther away than the other.
Yeah, the batting area.
Yeah, it's considerably farther away.
so?
The one on the right, it seems like it's much.
So
well, I guess you can't fix that. No, it's not as I remembered it. It's about as close as you can get.
And we're using the fields in the configuration they are, just to kind of minimize the amount of.
No, I was thinking
prep
they were.
work.
It was over there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I might have missed this earlier, but what is the current thought or plan for kind of connecting the family terrace area to the reservoir? Is there a staircase, or what's kind of the current thinking on that?
If the community has their way, there's a staircase. So there's a desire to make a connection in this area, because we have the one in here. The reason I made a comment about the existing stair being there is that they haven't torn it out. We were told it's going to get torn out in order to put pipes in there. It's still there today. They've torn up everything else. Maybe it's going to stay, and maybe it's a good call to Stephanie Murphy to ask, can we keep that stair? If we can keep that one, we have to put handrails on it to make it compliant with code. But then we could take the budget here easily and think about a connection in this area. So that's kind of where we are. Is how far we were stretching the dollars to where we could get things in there. So that'd be.
And we've been hearing that question and comment over and over, and we recognize that once the family terrace is renovated, it's this great place, and the upper terrace is available, there's just going to be a lot of traffic back and forth, and that's really important. So we'll be looking at that. It's kind of outside of the scope of what we're talking about family terrace wise today, but we recognize that connection is important.
So that connection will probably come from the $5 million instead of the $450,000, correct?
Yeah.
So to clarify your comment, if the existing staircase was taken out, we would have to use funds to rebuild a new staircase.
Yeah.
And if it stays, we would save some money that potentially could go towards this other.
Because the stair that's there existing, it's in great shape, and nobody's walked on it for 60 years or something. So it just needs handrails. For the most part, I hope it's not got other flaws that we don't see. But
I think both groups are probably focused on the specific amenities. One of the themes that keeps getting brought up over the years has been the Maple Leaf identity, right? So neither group mentioned it specifically, but these include Maple Leaf themes, whether there's camps of concrete or other pieces of artwork. I think that goes a long way towards giving a sense of identity.
yeah.
A lot of the roundabouts in the neighborhood have Maple Leafs stamped with concrete.
What we actually like to do, probably didn't really mention this, is out in the play area, anywhere the curb for the play area intersects, there's basically a triangle with a maple leaf embedded in it. A little bit of investigation, we might be able to get those triangles away without destroying them, and then reset those in some way. And I don't know whether that would be, right now, whether it be in a hard surface we use them, or do we put them, as a discovery element, or do we use them in the garden as stepstones? But
that's what I'm talking about.
yeah, so we could potentially, and the one I love about is reusing something, so we salvage something,
Saving money, saving energy,
all that good stuff. So. Go ahead, let's go.
I have one thing about the fence. I don't know what the whole brouhaha is about it, but from my opinion, having the existing fence along Roosevelt with its existing height is perfectly fine because it really, you don't notice it. You just look right through it. I think if you lowered it to 6 feet or whatever, then you have this line right around your head, and I think you'd be more conscious of it. And from my son's point of view, he'd be more likely to try to climb over it as a 6-foot fence. Right now, he's not looking at it.
Yeah. Well, because for kind of, you know, with us coming to the neighborhood fresh eyes and we see it, we see these 10-foot fences and it's, whoa, do we really need these 10-foot fences? What should we do? And so this idea, what we wanted to do was actually do a more interesting edge, you know, with the play area. And then as we kind of got in the budget, we said, kids don't care about an interesting edge. That's us. So let's leave the 10-foot fence if we have to. If possible, it could become a 4-foot, but we definitely art stone. But if there's you know, if you're comfortable with the 10-foot being there, then maybe we just leave that leave it off the table. So
I just wanted to make sure that putting my vote on the other side. I live across the street. I look at it. I look across. I like to see trees, and I even like to see the structure of the restrooms. It's a decent building. What I see is the fence, and the artwork that's incorporated in the fence does very little to enhance it. And I think I'm inclined to think the purpose of a 10-foot fence wasn't so much keeping children from playing out, as from keeping balls and things from going into Roosevelt. And I think with the new design and the accessibility of the main field up on top, that's going to be less necessary.
yeah, that's interesting. I guess I'd never heard an opinion why there's a 10-foot fence.
Well, right now there's a lot of ball use in that field, and people are playing frisbee there. And I think most of that activity is going to move up to the top, into the bigger space, especially if you fill it in with a lot of this other stuff.
That's a good point. Yeah, did you have a question?
Well, I had 2 comments. If the fence does go away, would they still leave the pillars of art or move the art? Because I think somebody said that they thought that art was terrible, and you know, I think it's kind of cool myself. I liked it.
Yeah, no, the idea would they would come and take the panels away if we modified the fence, and then they'd bring them back. So
yeah. And my other comment is the last thing I said over there was, and this has to do with the whole park, not just the kids' park. I want to see some large signs that says this is not an off-leash dog park, and maybe saying this park does have it, or these parks do have it, or something.
Kim, is that standard language? And
One of our standard signs is by play areas and ball fields, not to have dogs off leash or just dogs in general, because dogs simply aren't allowed in play areas around ball fields. So there's an ordinance that states that, so a community member could actually call the police and have them come and issue a ticket. And that does happen in certain parks. Community members get fed up.
There's no signs now, so I'd like to see some put in.
So that's something that we can consider putting in one of those signs with the ordinance number explaining the law.
It's 8 o'clock.
Any other comments? Well, thank you, everyone. This was extremely helpful.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Thank you.